Hello, hello. Welcome to Workshop 2, which is aptly named Be More Majestic Basil. It is time for you to step up and show what you are all about. And I really feel in this episode, I'm going to be taking on some pageant mum energy. You know, those ones in the 80s that would have the shell suit and the beehive and the L net and probably a fag, but hopefully the fag was not close to the L net. And they would be like, get to the front, babe. You've got this. Come on, show them what you're all about. And because I used to dance when I was a kid, I've met many of these women. I am not going to be necessarily right there with you unless we work together one on one, but I want you to feel that encouraging, motivating, sense of me really seeing what you're capable of, because I know how easy it is to hide. I know how easy it is to second guess yourself or to be filled with self-doubt and just not making the progress that you want. So I really hope this workshop today will put you back in the seat of momentum and be more majestic, Basil. This will all make sense in just a moment. I'm not going to go into my intro every time, but I am aware that sometimes you're just visiting for the first time and you just may not know who I am and what I'm all about. But you can read this. Essentially, I am here to help you activate and illuminate your personal brand. The activation is all about the connection and finding your why and really thinking about what you want to create and then curating a plan to make it happen. The second part is always about the illumination. How can you show people what you do? How can you get into the places and the spaces where you can thrive and share your message and create impact? Now, we're going to be talking a lot about visibility today. So if that is something that you want to begin monetizing, in this longer free workshop section on my website, there is a workshop all around the 10 reasons why people don't monetize. So there's loads of actual actionable tools in there so you can get started. It's completely free. Just log in. There's other workshops there. You can pick 1, 6, however many you like. Right, let's talk about this basil. I wish I had a photograph of this basil. Maybe I do somewhere, like lost in my desktop somewhere. I actually went on their website, but they don't seem to sell it in this way anymore. When I was in my local Waitrose, wandering around thinking about what I was going to cook for dinner, because you know, when you've got small children, that 5 o'clock moment, it comes round so quickly again and again. And as you go into my local Waitrose, there is the fruit and veg, as there often is with most supermarkets. And I turned to the herb section and there was some really like nice looking basil, and it was big and it was lush and it looked delicious. It looked really fresh. And then I took a closer look and I thought, hang about, what is this basil saying about itself? And it said this: majestic, king of the herbs, once regarded sacred to the gods, fragrant basil still reigns supreme. And that moment shocked me. It took me by surprise. It made me pause and read a little further, almost to the point where I thought, did this basil just say this thing? And it absolutely did. Now, I want to bring this to the table because I believe most of us need to be a little bit more majestic basil in the way that we're talking about our businesses. And this can be a challenge. Look at my little sweet face there. My like, I think my mum had that fringe cut before the school photo. This is me, maybe aged 5, I'm going to say. The school that I went to was not really about standing out or showing your best self. And also, I was the only ginger kid in my class. So already you're so paranoid about that. It's so awful, actually, in those early stages. Like you get picked on, you get bullied, you get name calling, all of these things. So school for me was really about being the opposite of the Majestic Basil and blending in and not being too much and being accommodating and spreading myself too thinly and thinking about other people and not rocking the boat, not being too controversial, not wanting to be too bossy, all of these things. And then what I realized when I moved into running my own business, which I have been since I was 18 years old, it had a dawning. Oh, I'm going to have to really unpack and uncover my own limiting beliefs around this because I cannot be in the industries that I want to be in and I cannot run my own personal brand with that hesitation and like, oh, I won't, oh, sorry, and be so apologetic. So, firstly, I want you to ask yourself, what has been your experience of being visible, of sharing your brilliance, of saying who you are, of being your true self, of putting yourself out there, of selling, of putting a price on what it is that you do? What has been your experience? If you want to grab your journal or a piece of paper and a pen, it may be worth just having a think about some of those conscious or even subconscious thoughts around that. Secondly, one of the things that I've realized is I've needed to create a bigger why than the fear. A why that is so loud and compelling and captivating that the fear has to quieten down. And that has not always been easy. Because if you imagine a soundboard, sometimes it's felt like that fear, that anxiety, that uncertainty, that lack of self belief has been so loud, it's been blaring, it's been deafening. And so, in order to move through that, I've had to actively turn it down in my head and replace it with something else. Turn up the volume of why am I doing this? What am I here to do? How can I contribute? Who am I going to help? What do people need to hear from me today? And really connect and tune in with that version of myself. And I give that example of the visual because when people just say things like, just be more confident, just believe in yourself, just build a network, it's all these just casual expressions. I, for need to have more practical tools that I can use and optimize. So now we're going to move into some practical action and how you can get really comfortable with being this next version of yourself, the more visible version, the more truthful, honest, engaged, regular version of yourself. The first question I want to ask you is, who are you? And are you owning your brilliance? I had an experience recently with my own coach, and she was working through something. And I had this block in my business, and she asked me some questions around it. And we dug a little bit deeper, and we'd been working together for a while, so she understood like how far she could go with me. And the questions she was asking were around how old this limiting belief was. And I took a moment and I really allowed myself to go back, to be fully present and committed to unpacking exactly what was going on. And very quickly I said, I think it was when I was about 13. And I described this really vivid memory I had. And cleverly, my coach said to me, how old are you now? And I was 43 at the time. I'm now 44. And she said, ah, interesting. So this has been around a long time, 30 years. And when she said that, I immediately had that sense of this needs to go. This needs to go. Why am I running the show, the system, the goals, the next chapter, the version of me now? And this limiting belief is holding me back. It's keeping me small. It's almost like you're trying to run a computer program and it hasn't updated and it's an old software and it's glitchy and it's missing parts. I took a moment to really speak to that version of myself. And now, as I have a son who is nearly 11, so this is 2 years ahead for him, I would take care of that situation. And I'd say, whatever it is, you don't have to hold on to it until you're in your mid 40s. And really understanding that gave me permission to let it go, to take the emotion out of it and to see it for what it was. So when I'm talking about king of the herbs, maybe queen is not a place where you can freely and openly step into yet. And so instead of waiting for that perfect day where you can step up, I want you to notice how you can incrementally increase how you present yourself, how you back yourself, how you advocate for yourself, how you claim your dream and you make a move towards it. Have a think about how that lands. Number two, it's so important that you are conscious of your verbs. They may need switching up a little bit. You may need to make a move from trying, hoping, wishing, seeing what happens into somebody who makes it happen, who's designing, who's emailing, who's doing, who's moving, who's shaking. You're in that momentum. And you're being somebody who is actively making those moves towards your future and being future focused. So many people operate from the past version of themselves. I tried that, it didn't work. It's probably not going to happen because I failed last time. People like us don't do things like this. We have to be so mindful of this and show people your standards. I operate on the fact that you never know what's going to happen today. I actually wrote a book about it called Be Ready for Your Lucky Break. And I've noticed that in over a 25-year career. You never know when that call's going to be. You never know when something's going to happen. And so I never want to be clogging up my path of progress with all that, oh, I tried and I couldn't and I wouldn't and I shouldn't and la la la, and instead strip it away so I can move forward and step into the opportunity. Number three, I want you to really think about who you are and what you're not. That basil on the shelf is standing in its power. It's like, I am basil. I am not rosemary. I am not cinnamon in the spices. I am not parsley. I am majestic basil. And too many people, I think, are worried about leaving somebody out. Or they don't want to claim it because what if they are not appealing to everybody? What if, and then again, it goes back to this kind, accommodating version of ourselves. We can be kind and accommodating in other parts of our life. I always work on the basis that if I'm cooking and you're free and you're walking past and you want to come over, and like, my table will always be full, it will always be available. But the way that I run my business in terms of my target market, I am not going to be able to help everybody. I also am not the best person for everybody. And there are some people who will actively not want me to help them because they have self-identified, you are not the person, Nikki. But the people that are, the people that connect, the people that love my work, they're ready. They're good to go. Another thing that I'm seeing all the time is people are leaving it for others to figure out. They'll say, "Well, I'll just put something out there and then hope for the best." No, you have to make a choice. Directors have said this so often as an actor. Make a choice and the director will tell you if it needs to be changed or tweaked or to make another choice completely. They will tell you those things. Another thing, using AI to give you opinions and thoughts and ideas. Be really mindful of where you're outsourcing your options, because sometimes it can be really compelling. You're like, oh my gosh, AI is giving me all of this information. Like I can do all of these things, but they might not be the right fit for you. It's almost like going through a magazine or going into a shopping center and go, wow, there's so much choice. I feel like I need to buy everything. Not everything is going to feel great on your body or suit your lifestyle or be your style or be your preference. So really tune into that. No more dabbling, accommodating energy. That thing of like in, out, shake it all about. I'll do it for a bit and I'll see if you like it and I'm not sure. Commit to a period of time and spend time embodying it. This is one of the things that too many people are doing. They're running their business in their head or on a spreadsheet. They're not taking it out into the world and showing people what they can do. They're not building that relationship. They're not creating that connection. So I really want you to think about how you can make more of a stand. Number 4, show people how to use it, how it's useful. Now, if I went on, say, this Waitrose website, the way that things are used now in so many of the marketing, they have by the counter, they have those recipe cards with the pictures of the things. This Majestic Basil will be like, use me in salad. I'm going to look beautiful with that mozzarella cheese and some beautiful vine tomatoes. Put me in pesto. I thrive with some pine nuts. Get some great olive oil and a fresh lemon and make it zingy and green and lush. Equally, it can just be really simple on quite a relatively plain bowl of pasta, but this basil will just take it up a notch. I want you to think about your products, your services, your offerings, how you show up in the world. Show people how to use them. I remember going in the Farrow & Ball shop in Islington, and when we moved into our house, our kitchen cupboards are not a colour I would choose. And I really wanted a neutral of like how that was all going to work. And I was trying to describe the colour, and she was like, have you got a picture of this kitchen? And I was like, actually, I have. And she took the picture and then she brought in some different kind of paint samples and she pulled it all together. This is what you need to do with your products and service. How are they going to thrive out there in the world? Don't forget to give your expert eye. Remember, you are in charge of your business. You've thoughtfully put this together. So really be the advisor in this situation. Number 5, bring your majestic energy throughout and allocate places where you can wilt. Now, this conversation around, maybe I need to be my authentic self. I need to tell everybody everything. Otherwise, I'm like, I don't know. I just need to be honest. You don't have to lie, but you have to be selective. If you are going out into the world saying that things are not working, stuff's not happening in your business, that isn't the impression that you're going to leave people with, rather than the impression of what you can do and what you will do and what's happening right now. And obviously, because you're a human being, do allocate those places where you can wilt. I do it with my mum, I do it with my partner, I do it with myself with a journal or on a run. I allow those moments where I'm like, oh, this feels really hard. This feels challenging. I'm not sure what I'm doing, or I'm trying to figure out this problem. I don't share that with everybody. I always am preparing myself to bring that majestic basil energy, because as I mentioned, you never know where it's going to happen. So raise your standards, lose that make do, see what happens casual approach, because you are talented, you are ready, you're experienced, you've got so much to give. So don't let your mindset get in the way. In terms of the next steps, I would love to help you become more majestic basil. So if you want to find out more, go over to my sessions page, nikkiraby.com/sessions, and we can talk further. Equally, if you know that you want to monetize your speaking, you want to be more visible, maybe you want to be booked for keynotes or podcasts or in the press or on panels or collaborations, whatever it might be for you. One of the great programs for you could be Speak Up. You can come in and just do the online course version, which is accessible immediately. I also have an option too, which is Speak Up plus the strategy session. I also have another option with a monthly moves, which is 30 days, really working on this project of your speaking. You can go to nikkiraby.com/speak up. And if you add magic at checkout, you can save yourself 20%. Thank you so much for being here and being open to being more majestic, Basil. I hope you got lots from today's workshop. Don't forget to come back tomorrow for a brand new workshop. Like and subscribe and tell your friends, and I'll see you then. Lots of love.